Oh, it's funny. It's just, it's ruthless. That's what it is. I'm really into Jesus' teachings. So I'm really into getting to know who Jesus is and make a sense of the sort of teachings he had to say and who he is and how who Jesus is actually informs our understandings of realism and reality. I think he teaches, unfortunately the church can be pretty atrocious representation of Jesus, but I think his actual teachings are phenomenal. And his teachings, I think because of who he claims to be and the sort of things he talks about, it means that who he is his character causes us to realize that truth is more of a relational experience rather than just an objective or subjective mind frame, and it's actually more personal and experiential than we've led ourselves to believe it is. And also I'm really into a guy called Michael Polanyi. If you ever get the chance, there he is, we were looking for him. If you ever get the chance, read a book called Personal Knowledge by Michael Polanyi. Nice shooting, doggo. Nice. How about you, Roger? Have you been reading much philosophy yourself? Are there any philosophers that you really appreciate? Hang on, I'm just going to kill some guys first. I'm just going to kill some people first.
We have lost objective apples.
And then we'll get back to talking about the ethics of killing people. Stoicism's interesting. I find it's... I don't find it... I find it's quite limiting though, because I think there's a lot of value in listening to our emotions and actually appreciating them. And my understanding is Stoicism wants to say, rid yourself of your emotions and try and become as rational and neutral as possible. I might be getting that wrong, but my understanding is that it's more like that. And that's popular, and it makes sense, especially in the Western world where we really appreciate rational thought. And so there's a lot of value in it in that regard. But I also think there's value in acknowledging human beings have feelings, and we need to listen to them. And if we don't, they're going to get suppressed and come up in unhealthy fashions. And I don't think Stoicism really accounts for that too much in its philosophy. And that's kind of annoying for me. I actually like acknowledging I'm an emotional creature. And it's actually, especially for men, we're not very good at that. We're not very good at processing our emotions. But I actually think it's important to learn to be good at that and to acknowledge that they drive us and they are involved in our decision making at times. And it's actually good to feel deeply about things and to be passionate about stuff and to care about the problems of the world, and that's all quite emotional talk. So I think that's a good thing, but my understanding, and I could be wrong, but Stoicism really tries to say don't be emotional at all. But I don't know, I might be wrong, it might be more nuanced than that. And I'm sure there's many different... Oh, I thought I killed the first guy. I'm sure there are many different nuances as well, though, of Stoicism, so...
We have lost objective butter.
Shazza, that's so cool. There's a guy on my body. And I'm gonna go kill him. Yeah, Raja, and that's so cool. And the more philosophy we learn, the better, I reckon. Yeah, he had a SMG. No one field of philosophy has a monopoly on truth. So I think the more we learn, the less ignorant we become, the wiser we get, and the more resources we have from which to try and make sense of how things really are. Because in some ways, we need to feed our imaginations with more content. And so the more content, the better, because then the wider a capacity we have to think better. Gosh, it's hot here, eh? Oh. Yeah. And the more we push ourselves to learn more, I say as I run around all night, blowing people's faces off with guns. The more we push ourselves to learn more, though, the more we improve our minds. I actually don't know what I'm saying right now. our thinking capacity is limited by our vocabulary. You can't think of anything outside of what you've previously experienced or learned. We're actually limited human beings, and we don't like to admit that. We're not omnipresent. We can only see from our particular finite human perspective. And so what that means is there's always... We become more capable of thinking wider and bigger the more we increase our vocabulary and our thought life.